All right. Hey, thank you everybody for joining us on the Homeschool Connect Expo, um, the live stream here at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. Today, right now, we have Paul and Cathe Cleveland from Boundary Stone, and they have been a founding exhibitor with a Homeschool Connect Expo. So they started out with us, and we are very excited to have them on to talk a little bit more about what they're doing. So Paul and Cathe, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you being a part of Homeschool Connect Expo. You want to introduce yourself and
Sure.
let us know kind of what you guys do?
Sure, that'd be great. So I'm Paul Cleveland, and I'm a professor of economics. I've been teaching at Birmingham Southern College now for 30 years, so quite a bit of time there. I've also taught at University of Central Florida and at State University of New York in Geneseo. Did my PhD work at Texas A&M, and it's my wife Cathe. And anyway, one of what we're doing is one of my mentors named Clarence Carson. He was a historian by training, did his PhD work at Vanderbilt. And anyway, he was developing high school textbooks back in the 1980s and 1990s. And so I worked with him. I was on had set up a publishing board, so he's really targeting homeschoolers even at the time. And anyway, I was on his board, and I won't go into all the details, but all these books, he had done a 6-volume history. An American Government was the last one he'd written in the 80s, and economics tags. And so we're in the process really of updating all that and fleshing out curriculum to go with it. So that's really what we're doing. It's all provided within the context of a Christian worldview, and so it's natural law based. And we're excited in an age where people seem to not know anything about economics or history or government. We think they're crucially important for our time. So that's a little bit about us.
Yeah, I mean your curriculum goes through teaching life principles through history,
Right.
and so that's very important, and that's really something that's really needed right now. Yeah, like
I don't know if people watch those YouTube videos where somebody's going out on the beach and asking people questions about, well, do you know who the first president of the nation was? And people have no idea. And well, we're trying to correct some of that and provide the resources, really, not only to know those simple things, but to know deeper and more important things. And the truth is, is the U.S. a perfect nation? Well, no, it's not. It never has been, nor has any other nation ever been perfect. We live in a fallen world, and to expect that is to expect too much. Now, did the founders articulate well first principles, even if they fail to live up to them sometimes? And I think on that end, you'd have to say, yeah, they really did. So
yeah, and your curriculum kind of goes through the economics, and then you have what other pieces of curriculum that you?
So far we have, what I've done is, I'm an economist by training. So that was the first book I worked with. And so I've taken that, that book, and I've really updated it. It's now in a 4th edition. And we've really tried to gear it and make it very user friendly for homeschoolers and as well as teachers. And we've also set up an online course that pairs with it. So there's a teacher's guide, study guide, and an online course.
And what happened here is that when our kids were in high school, he got me to teach at our co-op the government and the econ classes using these textbooks. And in doing so and teaching over 100 kids over a 4-year period, you know, I saw some things that could be improved in them. And especially in dealing with our son, which was a special case, that it just really showed me some things that we could do to make it much more usable by homeschoolers. And so we came up with this new layout, which we did with the econ book. And our goal is to do the whole set that way eventually. But for right now, what we've got is the government and the econ set up with an online course and a study guide and teacher's guide that goes along with them that has like all the answers and everything. Clarence's book has been, his government book especially, has been used by thousands of people, but it never had a teacher's guide with it. And so people were always asking, you know, how do my kids know what to study from it?
Right.
And so we put that together to make it a lot more usable.
I mean, his book it was the last book he wrote, really, and very well done. I mean, he goes back and he traces all of the factors that the founders were thinking about when they were designing our form of government, and how they fleshed that out in the framework of the Constitution and those things. And then he also went through and detailed the ongoing attack on the Constitution and its marginalization in various ways along the course of history. So it's really quite well done, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it. It sounds, and this is one reason why I love, homeschooling. We homeschool our kids, and why I love about bringing the exhibitors together and kind of letting everybody know more about the exhibitors is because there's so many new homeschoolers that are coming in, as one of the byproducts of COVID. A lot of new people, a lot of people ask that question, can I homeschool? And what I love about homeschooling is, I don't have to know every subject. I don't have to know everything, because there are people like you that have put this all together, to come beside us and to help us, and with like I love that you have the teaching guide to kind of go through that process with us.
Well, if people use the online course, I mean, I had someone describe it the other day as, wow, this is easy peasy for a mom.
Yeah, because you're doing online courses now, right? You have a couple.
For those two, right. For government and econ, and it has daily lessons and videos, and it's all laid out with what to read, which study guide questions to do, and all of that for them. So
okay, very nice.
The daily lessons for them. So.
Okay.
I think our goal is within this next year to have that for the history set as well. It's in American history is in a 6-volume paperback set. They're really excellent books. But what we're going to do is split it up into 2 volume set, one for like 9th grade and one for 10th grade, in different time periods, and then to have the same kind of course support for those 2 books that we now have for government and economics.
Okay. That's awesome. And why do you think learning life principles through history, is important? Why is that kind of a foundation that you have?
Well, I've been at the academic level for many years, and I just have become so amazed at how little students know about history, government, and economics. I mean, this is my field. I worked at this. I'm a political economist. I do economic history, and so Clarence was quite an important mentor to me. And to watch young people run around claiming they want a socialist country, well, they have no idea what they want, and they. If they really experienced it, I would like to get them one-way well, actually maybe two-way, a round-trip ticket to go live in Venezuela or North Korea. Go live there for about a month, and you decide
Yeah.
where you want to live. You do not want to live in these places.
Yeah.
And there, and to not know and to take for granted the things that you enjoy in this country because of the relative freedom that you have had, and not to cherish that. In my view, that's a travesty, and it's a travesty, I think, just of ignorance.
Yeah.
And because you just haven't been taught well.
Yeah.
And that can be overcome.
Yeah, and it can be. I think the education. I'm saddened to see that creep into the churches as well too. Into the youth groups and nobody's there to kind of like educate them. Because they'll say, well, it's not the Venezuela socialism we're talking about. Of course, they say that.
I somehow think that Sweden is this total socialist country. Of course, it's not true. Yeah. And I tell students all the time, the Swedish government does not make Volvos, and they don't make IKEA furniture.
Yeah,
it's all done in the private sector. And there's so much free enterprise that goes on in places like Sweden and Norway and these other countries that, in some respects, now they have big welfare states, but in some respects they're freer than we are, and they don't suffer from some of the regulatory controls that we have to jump through the hoops with. So getting students to try to actually understand that is sometimes difficult for them to see, but that's what we're doing. We're trying to make it one of those things where you can get down and understand it.
Yeah. I love that. Now, what age level or what grade level are you is the curriculum made for?
I think we're shooting our main audience is high school. Okay. So I think the books would be a little too high level. I mean, for someone younger than that, unless they were just the exceptional student, and that could be. But we're trying to shoot at the high school level, and then could be used. Some of our materials and have been used at kind of an entry level college experience. So that's a possibility too, but it'll be kind of an introductory type course to something.
Yeah. But still, I mean, I love that, the college is doing that. That means, this is not just watered down. This is, a higher level to kind of push the kids to really learn and know.
University has just picked up basic econ and is using it with their freshman econ class. So
it's a general ed.
They're
general
ed class.
That's great, because the one thing that made me sad is we had a neighbor that was trying to become a citizen, and learning all the things that he had to learn to become a citizen, that most people, like you said, the people on the street would have no clue.
Right.
We're to be processed to be a citizen, you have to really know some of the stuff but we don't teach it to our own kids, and it's always been mind-boggling. It was, we were first generation homeschoolers. I went to public school. I'm just amazed what I didn't learn. And that was way back when.
Right.
I can't even imagine now what they're not, because they're the like you said, the socialism, the basic econ, basic history of government. They are just, they'll learn something from TikTok, and think that's totally true.
and that's really what's so sad, is that, you can't learn history from a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
It's not possible. That it takes a little more effort, a little more work than that. But like I said, what we're trying to do is to facilitate in a way where you can just work through it and get a whole lot out of it, and you'll learn so many things within the context of the way that we've structured.
Okay, all right.
A lot of moms who write me and say, "I'm going through this course with my kid because I need to learn this stuff."
Yeah,
and I've been amazed at how many moms write me and say that. So.
yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of things that we just didn't learn, in our childhood, or we might have learned, but it was poorly taught, and so it didn't really stick. So going through that's been one of the blessings that I had teaching our kids and going through some of this is the relearning some of the information, and something like this with the government and econ, such a priority, that we need to have anyway. So
sometimes I get asked too, what is the best year of high school to teach government and econ? And my answer to that question is the best year is presidential election year, because that's when everything is happening and all the issues are thrown in your face.
Yeah, it really starting to come out. From now, last night was the first convention on the Democratic side, and so from now until November.
Yeah, you need to know how to evaluate what they are throwing out as policies.
Yeah,
and a lot of the that it's interesting because there's a lot of subterfuge and a lot of obfuscation that sometimes they don't really want you to know exactly what they mean by the words that they're choosing to use.
Yeah.
To speak. And that's pretty much intentional, because what has happened in America is people have been busy with their lives and have just kind of gone on, and we haven't thought about these things. We haven't thought about our history. We haven't thought about principles of economics or principles upon which government should work. We've just kind of been maneuvered into particular positions where power has been given to people they really don't deserve it, and they really ought not to have it because they're abusing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've taken that for granted that that's okay, and it's not. The founders would be appalled that we should have elections, a democracy in the sense that we would vote on what government should do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, that should have been settled in the Constitution. This is all that government can do, and it can't do more than this.
Yeah,
that's what it defines the limits of what government can do and cannot do. Well, there's a lot of what our government does that you can't square with the Constitution. The Constitution says government can't do it, but they do it. And so they've skirted around that, and they've reinterpreted words, and they've reinterpreted the meaning of it. And under the guise of, well, we need a living, breathing Constitution. Well, if it's living and breathing, then it's not defining anything at all.
Mm.
Walter Williams used this example, and I thought it's always been a great one to use. He said, how many people would like to play me according to Williams' living rules of poker? And, sometimes three of a kind will beat a full house. Sometimes it won't. Those are living, breathing rules.
Yeah.
And, the constitutions are not supposed to be that. And so I think what we've done is by taking certain things, letting us be guided down certain roads, that's how you lose freedom over time. And it's a steady assault that comes little by little. It's not one election. It's not done in a matter of, just a few years. This has been ongoing for a long time.
Yeah. I like that analogy about that living, breathing. How many fights are in elementary or on the schoolyards when they're playing, on that, because the living, breathing, changing of the rules, and this is something a little bit more important than than just
most kids could get that one. Could talk about basketball.
yeah.
3 points.
Yeah, they wouldn't like that. If that's not fair because the other person couldn't shoot a 3-pointer. So we have to change it. But they wouldn't like that. They wouldn't like that at all. But yeah, I mean, and that's why I love about what you guys have is, you give us the ability to teach our kids, some of these subjects that we might not feel comfortable with. And I think that's what on the new people are looking to homeschool. I think that's been their biggest fear. That's kind of been their biggest thought of, I just don't know. I don't learn with them, your kids, go through this and utilize these subjects and go through. And I love that you're doing online classes as well too. And so
and they're group-based too. So
yeah, and so I have your exhibitor booth up now. And so if you go to Homeschool Expo, homeschoolconnectexpo.com, we're 365 days now, 24/7. You can go out, and this is your booth, and it's nice because you do have more information about the history, economics, and government. Places where you can go out to your website to shop and buy, and you have a lot of information on here talking about all the different ways that you can help, all the different things, and more information about all the textbooks. So if anybody has a question, go out to the expo, grab, get a link and go out to the website to get more information. I know you have a speaking session where you actually do talk about, the teaching free enterprise in a sea of socialism. I love that title. Because that's what it is. It's just a big sea of socialism, and it has nothing and it will sink everything if we don't watch it. So I love what you guys are doing. What are some other ways if people want to get involved and start utilizing, going out to your website? Your website has information about the online classes and how to shop and buy. That is that the easiest way?
Yeah, that's the easiest way. There is a chat icon on the site too. So if they have questions, I'm normally around most of the time during the day, and even late at night, that they can chat with me. And if I'm not there, it'll send an email to me so that we'll get back to you and answer it. But that's the easiest way to contact us. But then also you can sign up there for our dinner table economics that we're getting ready to do. That's our new series of videos that we're going to be doing with Paul and our son, which our son, who we homeschooled sort of successfully.
Eventually
successfully. He ended up now he's teaching government and econ at an urban Christian school here in town. And so he and Paul kind of get together and talk about economic topics in a way that people can kind of, and give people questions that they can kind of talk about it around their dinner table.
Yeah. Very cool.
That's our new series that we're getting ready to start here pretty soon. Our son just and his wife just had their first baby, so we're waiting for them.
Yeah,
congratulations.
So first grandchild here.
Awesome. Boy, girl?
Boy.
Thomas.
Yeah. Thomas. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Our first one was Tommy. Thomas. So awesome. Very cool. I love that. I love the thought of that series of being able to, have father and son talk and then give topics that we can talk. We always try to get together still. Our kids are all grown and married, but they come back around on Sunday afternoons and after church and talk and chat around the dinner table or lunch table and talk about things that are going on and issues and So
Yeah, Caleb says that one of his best memories of growing up in our house were those conversations that we had around that 24/7 class that we had on econ.
yeah.
So that's
that was
why
one thing
he wanted to start this.
That's one thing we always did too, is that we had dinner together.
Oh yeah.
As often as we could.
Almost every day.
Yeah, almost every day. And so that's he came up with that idea. It was not really something I would have necessarily thought of, but he said that's the way he learned economics, was us just talking about different topics and things that came up.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. I mean, and I found, homeschooling such a blessing, with our kids, because we got to know them on a different level that I don't think we would have been able to get to know. We knew their quirks and their ins and outs, and what they were like to learn, what they didn't like to learn, and what we had to push them on, and what they just rose to the occasion themselves. But it's been nice because they all live around us, to get that information back, because they all married homeschoolers, and so they all planned on homeschooling, but learning all the different ones of what they took, away, and they're all a little different. Some of it was just life, just doing life, going somewhere, being somewhere, and learning life lessons, seeing the family come together and talk, and over, some of the courses. I mean, of course, they learned and they saw the stuff, but the ones that really stuck with them. And sometimes I was just very surprised, that I just figured it was just a little moment in time, but it stuck, with them. And so that's really cool that they have that. That's really nice. I always ask at the end, is there anything else that that's on your heart that we haven't talked about, that haven't mentioned, that you might want to share?
I think we've covered a lot.
Covered a lot.
We've got to talk about a lot of our passion here, because we have a lot of passion about this.
I mean, you mentioned the churches and not understanding these things. I would say that is significantly on my heart.
Yeah.
I've been teaching a Sunday school class at my church titled Faith, Work, and Economics.
Okay.
It's been well received.
Oh yeah.
By people. They've never thought about many of the things that I bring up in that Sunday school class and how it relates back to the scriptures. So,
and I guess the other thing is that I would say is our story with our son Caleb, and he's a homeschool kid who we didn't graduate, and so he ended up taking the GED instead of graduating, because we told him he either had to go back and repeat his senior year or take the GED. So he did that, and then almost didn't go to college, but then realized the fact that Dad was a professor and he could do it for free. He thought, I probably ought to take advantage of that, when he started seeing his friends and what they were having to deal with. So anyway, life doesn't always turn out perfectly in homeschooling, but that doesn't mean that it's a failure.
Yeah, you persevere.
And, he persevered, and getting through it and seeing him where he is now should be an encouragement to any mom out there who's got one of their kids that they think, oh, this one is just so different, or it's so much harder than the others. There's always a way.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the beauty of homeschooling, and every kids are different. And I know a lot of people who are COVID schooling, were frustrated, and now they're looking to homeschool, and now they're just frustrated, and trying to figure it all out, and worried, that they'll mess up their kids. And I've seen way more public school kids get messed up, if you want to call it that way, of just from the bullying and just the lack of education and solid education and just all that stuff. So on the homeschooling, the kids are different, everything's different. And the beauty of it is, they'll learn at different paces, they'll learn at different times. And our three kids, our oldest, my daughter, went to Liberty, and my two boys, they decided to jump right into the workforce. They didn't go to college, and so my 18 and now 20-year-old, but they rose up in their industries, and all of a sudden they just bought houses, and so they're going on and moving on and rising up, and so, but it was it was the homeschool. It was them learning, to look people in the eyes and shake their hands, and what some people would say, how are you going to socialize? Well, they socialize with everybody, so they didn't have that thought of anything, and they quickly rose up very quickly, and so, but that's awesome. I can't wait to take a look at the videos and learn. I'm I'm a math and economic geek, so myself. So I'll look forward to seeing everything.
I went through a whole year where I did a video a week, pretty much.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year. So they're like 5-minute shorts.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them out on our. We have a YouTube channel too. So
okay.
That's got all of that. So
very good, very good. So, well, guys, I thank you again for being a part of Homeschool Connect Expo, for being a part of this today, to kind of share and talk, and so people get to know what you do and what Boundary Stone is all about, and and so everybody that's watching and will watch this, jump on their website. You can get it at homeschoolconnectexpo.com, and just type it in, and it has all their information, with pictures and videos, and then jump on their website. And now you have a resource. You have a resource in the high school economic government, and take a look at their online courses. The great resources that they've provided you guys. So thanks again for everybody watching this, and
thank you, Sam.
thanks, Cathe. It's always nice to talk and chat, and we're going to be doing more of this, and that way we can just grab a subject and let everybody know, and maybe they can throw in some questions ahead of time, and because I think, especially this fall, there's so many questions that are coming through, so many thoughts, so many things, and so we're just trying to be a resource for everybody to let them know, to join the community, to get involved, that and like what you said, Cathe, kids are different, and the path or the thought, the path of it sometimes doesn't work. But with the strong foundation, like you guys have provided, it will, it just might look different,
That's right.
So awesome. Hey, appreciate it again. And, we will talk very soon.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Look forward to it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Uh-huh.